You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, YNR fans, Belinda from Soap Dirt here, and we've got a real problem with Phyllis Summers and the corner that the writers have painted her into. She's been shoved aside by Danny, and I don't want to use the word dumped because they were never together, so he didn't dump her. He just sidestepped all of her crazy, and Nick just peeled her off his face and told her no thanks to the no strings attached nookie that his nutty ex had offered. She is at loose ends, and that's never a good thing because that's when she usually starts behaving badly. But she needs some storyline action, some career thing, some romance, something, right? Let's talk about what's next for Phyllis. But first, please subscribe if you have not. So I've got 5 super soapy, messy ideas for things that Phyllis can do. So just right off the bat, I have to say, first of all, Phyllis needs to do at least one bad thing to Cricket and Danny just to let them know on the way out the door she feels like they did her dirty. I mean, Red definitely sees herself as the victim in this scenario. Her skewed worldview has her seeing that she and Danny were just about to reunite and Christine came and stole him. It is utter lunacy, but that's what she really thinks. So one last bad deed. I mean, I do hope Cricket and Danny are just gone on that tour, and we hear that they left after the fact once they're in whatever part of the world listens to Danny Romalotti's aging rocker tunes, maybe Germany. You know how like they love David Hasselhoff? I could see that. Anyway, I think it'd be fun if Phyllis found out where they're staying on tour, canceled their hotel room, or sent them 20 pizzas through room service, all with anchovies and onions, downgraded their rental car to a subcompact, you know, petty teenagery type prank stuff since Phyllis has been acting like a hormonal obsessed 10th grader. Moving on from that little bit of petty that I think would be fun, some thoughts about her career options. So the second thing, I think she needs to get a new job. Last I heard, Phyllis was working for Daniel at his video game thing, and that means Red might be crap out of luck and unemployed soon because I'm 100% hoping Lily tosses Scruffy Daniel and his video game and the lady lawyer out the door of Chancellor Winters. Hoish Heather can go right behind him. And again, I say respectfully for those people who defend their actions, saying they were putting back together their family, sure, reunite. But, you know, break up with the girlfriend you're in a monogamous, serious relationship with first. I don't care if they said, I love you or not. They were in a monogamous relationship. That's the decent thing to do. So if Daniel's fired, Lily could have Phyllis take his place running Omega Sphere, but I can't imagine Lily would want his mom lurking after she fired her son. If she does fire him. I think a lot of fans, myself included, would like to see the Romalottis get entirely evicted from Genoa City. Danny, Daniel, Cricket, Heather, Lucy, the dog, if they have one, all of it, just out of there. So it'd be fun to see Phyllis maybe going to work with Sally. Maybe she could use her savvy computer skills to find her some new clients. OG Red with new Red, I think that could be really fun. I think Phyllis definitely needs a new job. So, and this next thing is very soapy, very kind of out there, but I have it in my mind. I can picture it. I think it would be fantastic. I think Phyllis should make friends with, wait for it, Diane Jenkins. I mean, yes, they were once very intense rivals that did horrible things to each other, but Phyllis has got to see that Diane isn't going anywhere. She's fully redeemed. She's part of the fabric of the Abbotts and GC as a city. She and Jack love each other. She's got a top job at Jabot. And let's face it, Diane is kind of goals for Phyllis, right? If Diane can come back after all she did and make her life this fabulous within what, a year and a half, then surely there's hope for Phyllis. They do have lots in common after all. Men they've both shagged, men they've both married, you know, they both fake their deaths, all that kind of stuff. So maybe, just maybe, Red could learn a thing or two from Diane. Of course, Jack's wife would be suspicious if Phyllis abruptly changed her tune, but that could also be really fun to watch. You know, if Phyllis decided she was determined to make friends with Jack's wife, even if Diane doesn't want that, I think that would be just great. I would like to see those two lunching at Society together, which would drop jaws. And you know what? I bet Jack Abbott would like it and would soften his attitude towards Phyllis if they played nice. You know who else might like it? Summer. Because the whole thing about Summer losing her marriage to Kyle was because of how Phyllis was faking her death and doing Diane so dirty. And I think it would go a long way to rehabilitating Phyllis's reputation with Summer, with Kyle, with Daniel, everything, if she played nice with somebody that she was victimizing. Not that Diane didn't have a little payback coming, but the bottom line is Phyllis burned herself down trying to burn down Diane. And I think Diane could be key. And I think, honestly, she could be a real mentor to Phyllis because, again, she's put her life back together very nicely and Phyllis needs something. So the fourth thing, I think that Phyllis might consider picking Tucker up off the reject pile once Audra and Ashley are both done with him. So we've seen sparks of chemistry between Phyllis Summers and Tucker McCall. Head writer Josh Griffith will throw in a scene with them flirting, and I'm like, wow, I really like them together. And then we get nothing again for weeks and weeks, and then they're making a fake date, and then they're kissing, and then nothing, and then another little scene. I don't know if the head writer has storyline ADD and can't stick to something, or, I don't know. It's like, okay, the Jordan thing is good, then it goes on too long. Adam's done nothing wrong, but everybody's still crapping on him. Victoria's being a real jerk at work and then quits her job to raise her wayward daughter and is being a much better person. It's just kind of like random storyline roulette or plot line whiplash. I don't even know how to describe it. Ashley's going crazy, great. But then we also have Connor having mental health issues at the same time and Chelsea too. So it's like, oh, let's just have 3 of this type of storyline going on at the same time. It's crazy. Anyway, I like Tucker with Phyllis, and I think Josh Griffith needs to pull his head out of his own backside and write them a weird little romance. Nate and Audra seem destined. Their chemistry is palpable, and they are both so gorgeous. And Eileen Davidson's going to leave once Ashley's nutty little arc is over. She is on recurring, not contract, unless she changed status and told no one. She is on the opening credits, but those change based on who all's on an episode, and they have people on recurring in the opening credits, so you can't tell like you can with some other soaps. Either way, I think when the smoke clears, Tucker's going to be single like a Pringle, and he's always ready to mingle. And I think his brand of hyper weirdness and oversexed teenage boy vibe would mesh very nicely with hers. They are a lot alike in many ways. Their energy is very similar. I think they'd be great. I hope it happens. And Phyllis jumping in with Tucker would be a very messy, soapy thing to do. Number 5, the last thing I think for Phyllis is if Tucker stays in that Audra, Ashley, Nate quadrangle swamp, is for her to go find just a new man. And maybe, he doesn't die off this time. I liked her with Jeremy Stark, and I thought it was a real shame they killed him off. First of all, because he was a silver fox hunk, and I just really liked it. I would like some sort of rogue to come to town and her to get mixed up with him and do bad things. With Jordan allegedly dead, and I'll believe that when I see her corpse with autopsy stitches on it on a slab in the morgue, Weinar needs a new villain. And Phyllis is a bad girl, so maybe the next bad boy that comes to town can be hers. I mean, I wouldn't even mind them doing some throwback, like bring Ian Ward to town and her get in with him. Or her and, her ex-husband, Marco Anicelli. Not that she knew she was married to him. She thought she was married to Jack. She can lick the one ear that Victor left Marco with. And I know she likes the cut of Jack's jib. And Marco is, the next best thing, right? Other than him being a dastardly drug lord. He's supposed to be dead, but, he died in Venezuela or somewhere. That doesn't count. And she did spend a while married to him, so she knows how it is to live with him. Of course, she was super mad at Victor about that whole thing. I've not forgotten any of that. But point being, if there's no one in Genoa City for Phyllis, she needs somebody new. Otherwise, why have the character around? And we definitely don't need any more Danny and Phyllis and Cricket. No Spanx. No Spanx to that. Let me know what you think Phyllis should get up to now that Danny's gone on tour with Cricket and her romantic plans are dust and she might lose her job. We'll see. Share your comments and please subscribe if you haven't, and come back for more Y&R Chat 7 days a week here on the #1 soap opera channel on YouTube. And as always, this is your host, Belinda from Soap Dirt. Thanks.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.